Good afternoon, folks. I'm in St. Lawrence today, and always feels great, folks, to be home no matter what. You know, a lot of, we all grew up here. Mom and Dad moved in from, I don't know, Corbin. Mom was from South Pond, and came in. Dad worked in the mines, and all 8 kids, and a lot of fond memories in growing up. And today here I am in St. Lawrence, and we'll be here for a town hall meeting with Tony Wakeham. Tony is aspiring to be the new leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Newfoundland and Labrador. Tony is on the Burin Peninsula for right now less than 24 hours. Last night he went to Grand Bank, had a meeting in Grand Bank. There will be a meeting within the hour here in St. Lawrence at the Seniors Club just there by the fire hall. So all are welcome. And tonight Tony will have a town hall meeting in Marystown as well. So I was kind of looking at the town right on side of me. Is that so? Tony, you've been here now in less than 24 hours. Obviously, you're aspiring, and actually, folks, for those that are probably seeing me for the first time, I have endorsed Tony to be the new leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. Grand Bank has got challenges right now with a reduction of with their quota, which will obviously impact their community tremendously. And you looked around in Marystown today, and now you're in St. Lawrence. What's your general thoughts with all being here in less than 24 hours, Tony?
Well, Gord, I'm glad to be back to the Burin Peninsula. I've been here before. I do have family connections to the Burin Peninsula, and the Burin Peninsula is one of those hubs of this province. And it's not always about the major urban centers. There's a lot of activity still going on here in the Burin Peninsula. There's a lot of opportunity here on the Burin Peninsula, and we as a province and as a government need to capitalize on that. So for me, it's very important to come down here. You referenced Grand Bank and the surf clam issue, and last night we had a very good discussion about that particular issue, and certainly there needs to be. That's an issue for not only Grand Bank, but it's an issue for the entire province. It's not only about the plant workers in Grand Bank, it's all of the people that are currently employed in those trawlers. It's all about the economy of this province. I mean, each one of those trawlers requires a substantial amount of goods and wares and stuff, and they purchase all that locally. So I think it's critical that that we support them and get this decision reversed, because there's no reason for this to have gone this way, and we really need to find out why, and we need to get it reversed.
And one thing I heard you mention, Tony, you mentioned the fact of that you're going to make a call, send a call out to all 7 MPs from Newfoundland and Labrador. You want to basically reiterate that?
Yes, Gord, I think it's important that the group of 7 that represent us in Ottawa now, I think it's important for them to come home and to lend their voice to the voices of the rest of the politicians in this province. I don't think this should be a political issue in terms of PC, NDP, or Liberal, but I think it's an important issue for all of us. There's only 500,000 of us in this province, and we need to look after each other. And we have 7 elected MPs in Ottawa, and it's time for them to come home and have a chat with the people that put them there.
So you seem to be very aggressive on that matter, which I like, is what we want for a leader, and especially someone who I feel in 19 could very well upset the Liberal Party, because I think that the people of the province, although it's only 4 years, are virtually looking for a change, and you can sense it as you travel the province.
Absolutely, and I think, in relation to the fishery, I mean, for too long now, our allocation of our resources have been dominated by one person, a Minister of Fisheries in Ottawa, a federal Minister of Fisheries, deciding on the livelihoods of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. It's time we had some better say in how those fish are allocated. And two principles, of course, the adjacency principle has been talked about a lot, and it's even more important that it be talked about right now because we've seen that there's quota cuts coming in some of the other species. So that's critical for us. And I also believe that as a province, we deserve to have a management say in how our resources are allocated. You know, people talk about the Upper Churchill as a giveaway for Newfoundland and Labrador. Perhaps the biggest one we ever did was in 1949 when we handed over the rights to our fishery to the federal government. They didn't even ask for it. We just gave it to them. And ever since then, it seems like we've been paying the price as a province. Quotas off the coast of Newfoundland have been allocated to other countries. They've been allocated to other provinces. And here's another example now where a federal minister of fisheries is simply taking jobs out of Newfoundland and Labrador, full-time jobs out of Newfoundland and Labrador, to create part-time jobs in another province. Not good enough.
Absolutely. And here we are now within the hour. You're going to have a town hall meeting here in St. Lawrence, and I'm sure you would kindly ask the residents of St. Lawrence, Lawn, surrounding communities to come out and hear. What is your impression here looking at the community, being versed on the fisheries and being versed on the mines in St. Lawrence? You know, what are you going to say to the people here shortly in St. Lawrence? For most part, what I see you're doing, you're going to the various regions, to the various communities, and you're hitting on the issues of that particular region as well as the community. Why St. Lawrence, and what do you see here right now?
Well, again, I think it comes down to the fact that St. Lawrence has been around for a long, long time. The people here have a tremendous outlook on life. They've been survivors all their lives. They've dealt with disasters. They've helped out in disasters. And they've always had an outlook that was positive, and we need to encourage that. Right now, our province is going through a downtime for sure, but we need people, like with the resilience of the people of St. Lawrence, to stand up and say, no, it can get better, and it will get better. But right now in St. Lawrence, I mean, they've got the Floor Star mine is starting up again. Right now, there's a wind farm here. You know, the fishery is still alive. It's not full-time year-round, but it's still here. So there's tremendous opportunities, and I want to sit down and talk to the people of St. Lawrence about what their needs are. And I think government needs to do a lot more of that. Before decisions are made that are going to impact the lives of people in their communities, we need to sit down and talk to them and have that discussion. And today I'm just hoping to come out and have a chat to people and talk about what they see and the direction they'd like to see government go in.
Yeah, you mentioned to me as well, Tony, that, with the reactivations of the fluorspar mines in St. Lawrence, 17 million came from the provincial government. But, we can also look back, and you know yourself where that money started to come from and who was premier and who was MHA for the area when all that was on the go. It's just a matter right now. The Liberals issued the check, but the money was come from where?
Oh, the money has been on the books of the province since 2011. It was in the fiscal forecast, and it was just a matter of timing of getting it done, and I'm glad to see it get done.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned about, your support for, and you will probably elaborate a little more in Marystown tonight about the Greg agriculture and some of the, obviously, the agriculture, the salmon fishery itself, and that being processed in St. Lawrence. So all of these things, you are looking at that it's strength of the region as well as the various communities.
Exactly, and I think, like I said, there's lots of opportunity. We also think about the Marystown shipyard up there, and I know there's a potential buyer for that, and I look forward to having some discussions about that because I believe that shipyard is a vital asset of this province, and we can and should make it work.
And Tony, you've worked in Clarenville. You're from Placentia. You worked in central Newfoundland in Grand Falls. You currently reside in Kippens on the west coast where your wife is from. You did a 5-year, work term in Labrador as CEO of Labrador Grenfell Health. And so that's got to help you tremendously to be the leader and hopefully the premier of the province.
I think it's very important if you're going to be a leader in this province or you want to lead a political party or be premier that you understand the province that you live in. I've had the great pleasure of being able to live in Newfoundland and Labrador and work in Newfoundland all my life. And as a result of that, I've had the opportunity to move around this province and get to know and meet people all over the province. And there are great people all over this province and great opportunities all over this province. But you need to understand, too, some of the local things that impact people's lives locally and how, as a government, we can improve on that. And my whole philosophy, Gord, is to be a people-focused government. And I truly believe that, budgets shouldn't be a time of surprise for people. Budgets should be announcements that people know what's coming as opposed to the secretness of it, especially if you're making decisions that are going to impact their communities and their lives.
And as well as 7:30 this evening, Tony, you'll wrap up your tour off the Burin Peninsula in Marystown. And again, a few words for the Marystown residents of Marystown to come out and see you and which you will focus on.
Yes, absolutely. Tonight in Marystown, I want to focus on Marystown is the hub of the whole Burin Peninsula. It is a service center. It will always be a service center. And I want to listen to what the people say are some of the things that they believe could be done to improve that.
And I'll wrap up because we got to get ready there at the Seniors Club here in St. Lawrence. And we're overlooking, I can't help but, the pride of this community, the pride of myself. I virtually have spent my lifetime around the sport of soccer. And what we're looking at here is Centennial Field. And Tony himself, folks, I'll let you know, he's basketball man by nature, coming from Placentia. He's been former president of Newfoundland and Labrador Basketball Association, as well as he did a term at the head of Canada Basketball, and he's inducted into the provincial Newfoundland and Labrador Basketball Hall of Fame. But we are a proud soccer community, and and every other sports personality know yourself the history of the St. Lawrence Laurentians.
Oh, absolutely. St. Lawrence Laurentians and soccer go hand in hand in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. You can't mention one without the other. And Gord, it's great to be standing here looking down at the field where I know you spend a lot of your time, but I'm also right next door. We're looking at the Catholic Church, and I know for a fact that it's probably one of the few communities in Newfoundland where the mass schedule is changed depending on whether the soccer game is being played or what time soccer is being played. That's how important soccer is to the people here, and they have so much to be proud of. I mean, it's amazing how many talented people have come from that program, the St. Lawrence Laurentians. And today, despite the fact that people have moved out, and despite the fact the league on the peninsula itself may not be as strong, St. Lawrence Laurentians are still competing in the Challenge Cup today, and they're drawing players from all over the Burin Peninsula. And that is a testament to the people and to the coaches and to the administration, all the support staff. And, of course, the fans here in St. Lawrence are, I guess the only people I could compare them to would probably be Europeans, because I think they're so passionate about their soccer that any sport would love to have fans like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it makes me to be very proud to be a Laurentian. And yes, that's why I wanted the field in the background. I wanted the community in the background. And just to the left of Tony, here we have the ocean, which is a big part of our fisheries. And then the mines, the fluorspar, and, the great, I don't know, when you're trying to name out greats in St. Lawrence, we'll start with Will Smaloy, L. Slaney, Keith Farrell, Frank Haskell, Junior Edwards, Junior Doyle, I don't know. It's Cyril Quirk, Frank Tobin, Bobby Spearns, Rudy Norman. The list goes on, folks, and I certainly apologize if I left anyone out. The Laurentians were the team of the 70s, the team of the 90s. And are you aware, Tony, in national championship, where Newfoundland at that time was Newfoundland, not Newfoundland and Labrador, started in 67. And since 67, there were 51 championships, provincial championships. And in those 51 years, St. Lawrence have won 25 championships, and in addition to that, the Laurentians have won 3 national silver medals and 2 bronze. A lot to be proud of, Tony.
Very much so, very much so. That's quite amazing, actually, when you think about all the competitiveness of all the other teams in the province, and to have won 25 out of 50% of them have been won by St. Lawrence Laurentians. Amazing.
Yeah, and Tony, again, I thank you kindly for coming to the Burin Peninsula, to reaching out to all areas of the Burin Peninsula, to having a town hall meeting in Grand Bank, a town hall meeting in St. Lawrence, as well as a town hall meeting in Marystown this evening, again at 7:30, and the one in St. Lawrence, folks, getting close, is to start at 2 o'clock. The doors are open. All are welcome. There is not just a political affiliation. Whoever the town generally has been progressive, conservative, supporters over the years. And I know when I ran in 2003 for nomination, I thank the residents kindly. I got for nomination, I had 714. I believe I had over 700. So I thank the town for that. And I just hope now, we have had a number of supporters that have signed up from St. Lawrence. So I thank the people that have signed up to register in the leadership. So Tony, again, I'll give you the final word, and just where you can welcome the people to the meeting within, and the same thing, the meeting this evening at Marystown.
Yes, Gord, just want to reiterate, I'm glad to be here, delighted to be here. It was important that I come here. I think it's important that a leader move around and see as much of the province as you can and experience it, but I'm really looking forward to having a chat with the people this afternoon and this evening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, and I hope once you win the leadership that I will send out an invite to you to come here on St. Lawrence Day, and I don't know, that could be a busy schedule in August, but you will see the real soccer played at its best on St. Lawrence Day. Again, I thank you, and we'll see the residents of the community, St. Lawrence Lawn and surrounding communities come to the town hall meeting within the hour. Again, thank you kindly, Tony.
Thank you, Gord.
Again, folks, that is Tony Wakeham, who is in St. Lawrence. Tony is on the Burin Peninsula, basically doing a tour of the province, and not only doing a tour of the province, he's reaching out to as many people. It's hard to get into every community, and so what you're doing is basically trying to go into areas that at least it's connecting to other communities that you can be within 20 minutes, within 15 minutes, sometimes within a half an hour. Anyway, I thank Tony kindly for coming to St. Lawrence. And again, I welcome all to the meeting here at St. Lawrence for Tony. You'll see Tony. You'll get to know him. I have endorsed Tony. He is a man of the people that I think that can do monumental value. His economics he has an economics degree from Memorial University, has worked with the provincial government for over 30 years, worked throughout the province. So again, it's up to you. Come and see Tony within, if you're in the St. Lawrence area, at a meeting starting at 2, and again at 7:30 in Marystown. Thank you.